Hello and welcome to Balderdash Academy. I'm your headmaster, Bob LeBlanc. Joining me, as always, is the head of English Language Arts, Molly McGill.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing lovely.
Substitute teacher for Home Ec and Wellness, Carla Rose Dubois.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
Coach of the Balderdash Academy Dashers, Steve Corning.
Let's go Dashers.
And our reigning champion, head of guidance, Nate Green.
Hello, hello.
Our visiting professor today is Amy VonMacek, manager of business affairs at the Dramatists Guild of America, events and podcast producer of the Dramatist Presents Talkback, which is on the Broadway Podcast Network, link in the description, avid knitter, and a novice ukulele player. Amy has agreed to be the scorekeeper tonight while our faculty members compete for the coveted reigning champion banner. They will perform a series of challenges at the end of each challenge. Amy will assign points to the competitor she feels is most worthy. She's not looking for the correct answer, but the best answer. The points are arbitrary and can be given to anyone for any reason. At the end of the show, the faculty member with the highest points total will be named the reigning champion. Our current reigning champion is Mr. Nate Green.
Oh, that's enough.
That sounds means it is now time for a pop quiz. Our first pop quiz is from Professor Molly McGill with English Language Arts. Molly?
Good evening, faculty. Always a pleasure to see you all and your lovely faces. Welcoming our new visiting professor and our substitute. So well done. As some of you know, we always kick this off with our word of the meeting. Tonight's word of the meeting I will read, and then each of our faculty members will tell me what they think that word means. Shall we begin? Tonight's word is psychomancy. Psychomancy. Tonight's word is psychomancy.
Mincy. Could you use that in a sentence, please?
That would be giving it away, Coach. Right. But good play, Coach.
Thank you.
Could you go ahead and tell me what that means?
Psychomancy.
I'm trying to get some early points here. Are you allowed to spell it, or we're just kind of just going off what we feel?
Sure. I mean, I could spell it if you like. Sycomancy. Psychomancy.
Psychomancy. Beautiful.
I actually know what that is. So that is relatively new. It's been around for a year or so, but it's a type of drink that they make at a bar in the Lower East Side of Saskatchewan. And what it is, it's a mint-based drink. And it plays with your mind. It's kind of like absinthe, except a little bit more hallucinogenic. But the mint really, but you can just go right up and kiss anybody right after that. I mean, with not anybody, but somebody that probably had a psychomancy too, which is the sequel drink.
Great. Thank you so much. Very, very close. A Saskatchewan...
Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Who else has an answer?
Oh yeah, I got you. Psychomancy. You're familiar with diplomacy, right? It's kind of a new attempt at foreign affairs. Obviously, diplomacy has failed many Western countries in the past generations. So psychomancy is very similar, where you negotiate with another country, another civilization, whatever it is. And, you guys are dealing in guns, you're dealing in peace, whatever it is. You wait till the very last second when you're about to shake hands, make the peace happen, make the guns happen. And in that moment, you shout, "Psych!" and it's all over. Psychomancy.
Okay, faux democracy. Got it. Okay, yeah. Great.
It's fantastic.
That sounded good, but I think I remember... from my schooling, the actual definition of that. I think that came up on my third grade vocabulary list, psychomancy. I think it's an actual spell that you can cast on someone only during your menstrual or menses cycle. And what it does is it allows you to achieve a higher state of psychotic abilities. So like it just like elevates it to like superpowers.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Okay.
Psychomenses.
Menses spell. Great. Thank you so much, Carla Rose.
Now, I see this all the time in administration. People do this to me on a daily basis. Psychomancy comes from the root word for sycophant. And what it is, it's another name for brown nosing.
I bet Nate would know a thing about that.
I really like your answer, Headmaster. It's a great answer.
So, Amy, we have a hallucinogenic drink from Nate. We have Faux Democracy by Coach. We have Menses spells from Carla Rose, and we have brown nosing from Bob.
I gotta give it to Carla Rose. Girl power points. 100 points for girl power.
Whoa.
Excellent.
100 points.
And what's the exchange rate from girl power points to regular points?
About 5 Stanley nickels.
Perfect. Well done.
Girl power.
Shows that all of you need to still study a little bit more, because psychomancy actually is a new hobby that I've taken up. It's fortune telling by using ripe figs.
Sure.
Ripe figs. It's
Are you
very
kidding
popular.
me?
Using the Newton principles.
Such a specific thing to have a whole word for.
Yes, well,
Wow.
of course.
Wow.
Specific helps. Amy, our first game is called 4 Questions. Now, as you've heard us talking about, Amy is an aspiring ukulele player. So in honor of our visiting professors, I have 4 questions about the ukulele. Whichever one of our faculty member gives the best, not necessarily the correct, but the best answer, Amy will award points. Our first question. According to Brewculele, the ukulele was created in what kingdom? So the ukulele was created in what kingdom?
The kingdom of heaven.
Carla Rose, Kingdom of Heaven.
It was handed down from God to the angels, who passed it through the clouds to mortals, who you will find, if you do an ancestry lineage search, are actually distantly related to Amy herself. So she's playing the instrument of her ancestors and God.
Carla Rose from the Kingdom of Heaven, which, depending on who's playing it, is correct. Nate, what do you have, other than a confused look on your face?
I don't know. I don't know if this is right, but the Kingdom of Hearts is really kind of sticking it to me. And I really think that the Kingdom Hearts Emperor was like a mouse, and it came down, and to his final people, he said, "Here I give to you ukulele. Here, take it, because I don't want it." And that's how it came to be. At least that's what it said in my
Nate's
fortune
answer was
cookie.
unlocked with the Keyblade. He said the Kingdom of Hearts. Steve, what do you have?
I think it's the Mushroom Kingdom. And I think what happened was they'd run out of turtles to murder. And they were high off mushrooms, and they got some turtle shells, strung some strings across. I'm talking about Mario and Luigi, of course, the inventors of the ukulele. And next thing you know, you get a musical instrument.
So there you go. Mushroom Kingdom. Molly, what do you have?
It was actually the Kingdom of Frank's Garage. So Kingdom of Frank's Garage, I mean, obviously really well known. It was him and, his disciples, Bob, Jerry, and Ryan. They were sitting around playing a game of euchre. Having a boys' night in the camp, throwing back a couple brewskis, playing some euchre, and they're like, "Man, it is quiet in here. What did we do? Ryan, hand me that bowl." And from there, they constructed the first ukulele, inspired by the silence in the game euchre. Ukulele.
Wow.
Heartwarming.
All right.
Original
All
garage
right.
band.
So we have Heaven from Carla Rose, Kingdom Hearts from Nate, The Mushroom Kingdom from Steve, and Frank's Garage from Molly. Now, the actual answer was the ukulele was created in the Kingdom of Hawaii.
What? Hard to believe.
Figure that one out, right?
Tell me another one.
So, Amy, how would you like to score points?
Oh, I gotta give 100 points to Molly for mentioning euchre. I mean,
Wow, that is
where
true.
did that come from? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
100 points for Molly.
Can I split 100 points between Steve and Nate for both coming up from video games?
Yeah. That's fair.
50-50 for Nate and Steve. Our second question. The name ukulele, or ukulele from the Hawaiians, translates to what animal? The name ukulele translates to what animal? Molly, what do you have?
Water buffalo, obviously, because it is so gentle, and the lovely harmony of plucking the strings reminded them of the gentleness of these giant beasts.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Steve, what do you have?
The unibrowed chicken, which is native to the Kingdom of Hawaii. It's a chicken adorned with a unibrow. That's all I've got.
Unibrowed chicken.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Carla Rose, what do you have?
Well, you know, in my opinion, I think it's the native seal of Hawaii. And they come ashore and they, you know, sing various melodies to onlookers. And they usually have like a little can or a little box out, you know, for tips. They're addicted to fish, really. But they're very musical, and they have like a plucking sound when they go, you know, when they sing. And so Hawaiian people were like, why are we tipping these people, these seals, when we could create an instrument that sounds like them and we could save money on tip?
The plucking, singing Hawaiian seal.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's
Nate,
good.
what's your answer?
Well, I mean, it's Hawaii. There's a lot of it's fairly close to Japan. There's a lot of Japanese culture there, and one thing that is kind of come out of Japan into our TVs through YouTube is the red panda. They're amazing animals. They do this little thing where they stand up and put their hands in the air. They're so adorable. But they're not actually related to pandas. They're more closely related to raccoons. The Hawaiians called them trash pandas for the red pandas that were there. And in order to, much like the Pied Piper, they had the ukulele. And by strumming that, they were able to lead the red pandas to the promised land. Duh. I feel like I nailed it at the end.
Yeah, that was perfect. You were great. So, red panda is the animal that it translates to. The actual answer is jumping flea.
Oh,
Jumping flea. It was a nickname given, the legend has it, by the King of Hawaii to Edward William Purvis, who was one of his advisors, because he was small, he was fidgety, and his fingers looked like jumping fleas. So, Amy, we have Molly with water buffalo, Steve with the unibrowed chicken, Carla Rose with the plucky singing seal, and Nate with red pandas. How would you like to score?
I gotta give 100 to Steve because, man, it's so weird. I have a tattoo of the unibrow chicken on my back.
What?
So, yeah, I know, right?
This is
Hey, who doesn't,
crazy.
right?
Wow. If it's not on Instagram, it doesn't exist.
That's
Well,
true.
that's a good
Prove
point.
it.
Good point.
All right. So, now the ukulele was invented in Hawaii by Portuguese immigrants. It's based off of what knife-named Portuguese instrument? So the ukulele was based on a Portuguese instrument that was named after a bladed weapon What is that weapon? Nate?
It's a Henkel steak knife, because that's what they had on them at the time. They were eating a lot of steak. They carried it around with them all the time.
Which makes sense because it was the time before Spam.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Carla Rose, what do you have?
Well, actually, the Swiss Army knife was invented in Portugal, and its Portuguese name was Swiss Army knife. That was the original name of it. And
that makes sense.
It does. I mean, because it sounds, so much more like Portuguese. And so they would use them, in the wilds, the forests, of the deserts of Portugal, because they need to survive. It's a very tough country, rugged terrain to live in, You really got to be like, you think Australia's hard? Try living in Portugal. Try making it. You need a Swiss Army knife. And so when they emigrated to Hawaii looking for a better lands that are not so harsh and hard to live in, they brought their Swiss Army knife.
So Swiss Army knife.
Yes.
Steve, what do you have?
I believe it's the knife del Grande, which just translates to very big knife. They named it, of course, after their hero, Paul Hogan. That's not a knife. That's a knife del Grande. There you go.
All right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Maui Dundee. Molly, what do you have?
It was actually a straight razor. Really important tradition is shaving in Portugal, obviously. And so it is after the straight razor. There you go. That's it.
Great answer. Great answer. Very close. It was actually named after the lute that's, or inspired rather, after the lute that is called the machete. So, the machete. But, Amy, we have Nate with the Henkel knife, Carla Rose with the Swiss Army knife, Steve with knife del Grande, and Molly with a straight razor. How would you like to score?
I gotta give everybody 100 points because that question was really hard.
It was! I'm so thirsty right now.
It really cut to the core.
All right.
Just a sub here, man.
Our last question in 4 questions. One of the first YouTube viral videos was of Jake Shimabukuro playing what song on his ukulele? So one of the first YouTube viral videos was of Jake Shimabukuro in Central Park, by the way, playing what song on his ukulele?
That was Beastie Boys, You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party. It was done during a protest. One-man protest, much like a one-man show. Really what made it a protest is anybody that tipped him, he threw it back at them.
That makes sense. Molly, what do you have?
I actually do know this answer. It is Freebird. So this gentleman that we're chatting about was quite a show-off. And so he just kind of really wanted to take that guitar solo and ride it out on a ukulele. And so he was just like, I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to do it now. And people are going to be talking about this for years. And look at us. Here we are talking about it.
And the benefit of that is there's always that one guy in the back shouting for that song again.
There was that guy, actually. And he, yeah.
That was you.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Carla Rose, what do you have?
I don't know. I'd have to disagree. I think that this guy, I've seen him, and he really was into like R&B and stuff, and he really liked that song "Everybody Dance Now," but he took it down a few notches, and he really made it his own. And it's got like it's like blinka 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 blink, everybody dance now. Blinka 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 blink, give me the music. Plinka, 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 plinka.
So he did like a pre-postmodern jukebox on it all.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He was so way ahead of his time, and he deserved all of those views.
Or a pre-modern ukebox, if you will.
Right. You just did. Yeah.
All right, Steve, what do you got?
I've actually seen this video. It's moving, and of course he's playing "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" because he was confused about what instrument he was holding.
Devil Went Down to Georgia. That makes on the ukulele. It makes a lot of sense.
It really does. Yeah.
The actual answer, in honor of a musician who loves the ukulele, it was George Harrison's "While My Guitar Gently Weeps."
You brought it full circle, Bob.
It's a foreshadowing. It is absolutely beautiful. It has over 16 million views, and the link's in the description. You should check it out.
That's a great song too.
It'll make you cry. It is gorgeous.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Bye, guys.
So, Amy, we have Nate with "Fight for Your Right." We have Molly with "Freebird." Carla Rose with "Everybody Dance Now." And Steve with "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." How would you like to score?
Nate with 100 points for Beastie Boys, and Molly 25 for Freebird. Freebird!
25
Play
for
Freebird.
All right. That's it for the first segment. The points stand right now with, in last place, Carla Rose with 200. Next, we have Molly with 225. And we have a tie for first place with Nate and Steve with 250 points. When we come back, we will have our next pop quiz.
Join in our homage to all things Canada and party with Kristen Wiig as we try to decipher who's telling the truth and who's a big fat fibber. All in the next episode of Balderdash Academy.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can find us on your favorite podcast service as Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!